he expand. This time, Hosen has a scan. Good for him, finally. Sang choosing counterattacking the middle with a combination of Goliath and Dragoons, and he has 4 more Templar. Excellent. Those Templar will help him. A few tanks in the back are going to be able to ward away those Dragoons. He's brought a lot of tanks, it looks like, down to the 7 o'clock position. There's a Dark Templar there. Hosen needs to scan again or risk losing all his mech forces needlessly. I mean, taking down the Nexus is important, but I don't think he wants to trade like 8 tanks for that. He did scan, so good for him. Good for him. And I think Hosen is in prime position to win this game at this point. It's not impossible for Sang to come out. A few good storms, and then sniping this expansion at the 4 o'clock, and Sang would be right back in this. However, his forces are getting caught between 2 waves of Goliaths. Very dangerous, and there's just so many Goliaths. His air forces does not appear to be very heavily upgraded. He still has an upgraded armor. I don't know what his attack on his carriers are. Maybe he's upgraded only that. That's at least something. But saying bleeding units that he cannot afford to bleed, he's nearly mined out, it looks like, at his 5 o'clock base. He's trying to set up at the natural there, at least give him a lifeline. But again, his interceptors are just getting shot down, and this is why it's so difficult for Protoss to go carriers these days. The highly upgraded Goliaths, you hold position and just kill the interceptors. If there's opportunity, you can move forward the Goliaths to attack carriers. Great. It's a solid defense against carriers. Looks like there might be another engagement here. Hosen seizing beneath the ramp, but forcing Sang to attack up the ramp. Sang not going to be able to do it. Losing more Dragoons to siege tank fire. Storm going off. Not a good storm again. Sang not with the best storms. He has so few interceptors left. This is what I mean. He's got much better storms now. Those storms managed to drive Hosen back. But Hosen just has too many forces. And it looks like, and if Sang had the resources to afford more interceptors, he would be fine. That carrier had no interceptors. He's probably out of minerals, it looks like. That's his problem. Dragoons suiciding into tanks. Sang's been bleeding units quite a bit this game. I have to say, Hosen appears to be the better player overall. This game. This is supposed to be a Protoss favorite map too, so not bad. Hosen putting down another command center. So he's not getting too cocky. He's gonna keep playing the same game, play it safe, get another expansion, be sure to crush your opponent. Looks like Sang coming, but so few interceptors on his carriers, not really able to accomplish much of anything. These interceptors are going to get destroyed. Looks like he actually has some more interceptors in the back, but I don't think he's really going to be able to do much. Losing those interceptors, not the best. Templar getting picked off there by Vultures, not using the Dragoons properly. Dark Templar, very effective so far this game for Sang, now picking away at these SCVs. Fortunately for Hosen, he's not quite going to pull Hyuk here. He manages, he lost a lot of SCVs that one time, but afterwards he's been reasonably effective in his defense against Dark Templar. Sang still has a good number of carriers, and just as I said that, he loses one more, and he still does have interceptors in them. He managed to get the expansion set up at the natural to the 5 o'clock, so he's actually okay. Sang is certainly going to be fine if he can continue with these hit and run attacks. Although attacking here at the 12 o'clock, he finally burned down the command center, but by then the base is nearly empty. He might be going for the main. This is a good move. Excellent move. He's going to pick off the science facility. He might be able to pick off critical tech and maybe the production buildings, picking off the factories. He's managed to kill the starport, and his carrier number is such that he's managed to pick off the factories. I thought he had fewer interceptors than this. He's proving me completely wrong. If he can kill all these factories, he's going to be able to win this game. Just now reinforcements coming in, but he's already burned down 3 factories at this point. However, Hosen has decided to use his opportunity to counterattack here at the natural base of the 5 o'clock. He's not having too much luck. There are some defenses there in place. Science vessel getting picked off. Goliath versus carrier actually in the middle of the map here. Sang appears to feel confident enough to engage Goliaths head on. There does not appear to be nearly enough Goliaths for some reason for Hosen. He's managed to siege up outside the Nexus at the natural of the 5 o'clock. More storms coming in, but this time these storms are terrible. Missing most of the Goliaths. He managed to kill 2. So Goliath versus carriers, there are still a lot of Goliaths out for Hosen, but I think Sang has enough carriers to be able to defeat them, unless Hosen can reinforce. The Nexus at the natural at 5 o'clock going down again, and Sang is probably not mining at this point. It's good use of Dark Templar still. Both players with some excellent points in this series so far. Good use of Dark Templar, for instance. Good use of counterattacks by Hosen. But it's really difficult actually to tell. I think Sang, if he can establish at least one mining base like this one to 6, he should be fine. His carriers are very powerful at this point. However, Sang seems to have a weakness for bleeding units, though. Like, he's lost a Templar there again to some Vultures. Hosen has managed to get his expansion set up to 7 o'clock, it looks like, and he's managed to take out the 6 o'clock base. Things are actually not going to be too good for Sang if he cannot get some more mining. He's going to run out of resources, and Hosen has critically a second Force of Goliath built in the back of his base. And I think at this point, Hosen is probably going to win the game. It doesn't look like Sang is in position to get more mining done. And Hosen, as long as he has mining, can afford to build units. And again, Dark Templar, though, being highly effective for Sang, causing all sorts of havoc. That's how you should employ Dark Templar. He certainly demonstrated he knows his Dark Templar usage. In these stealth strikes and to harass, to mix 1 or 2 Dark Templar in, the assassins in your army, if you would. Hosen finally taking care of that. He might lose all these Goliaths here, and he needs to be a bit careful and defend his mining base. Yeah, he's bringing down his reinforcements. Looks like Sang is massing everything he has to try to push here. I think he will be able to burn down the expansion at the 7 o'clock, but there is another base for Hosen at the 9 o'clock, and that's a very important base. Storms, good storms this time, driving the Goliaths back, all sorts of damage caused, and with that, has Sang just fought his way back into the game again? I don't know. Time will tell. Sang has more Templar ready, so those Templar are going to be critical. Hosen needs to hold out here. He needs to preserve his expansion at the 9 o'clock. If he loses his expansion, it's going to be GG. Sang coming in with an attack here. He's got a lot of intercepting his carriers. Hosen with Goliaths. Looks like Sang is forced to back off a bit. No, he's choosing to engage the Goliaths here. He's lost 1 carrier, and he's forced to retreat for now. He does not have the he's managed to reestablish his own expansion. Good for him. This is exactly what he needs. Resources to build more units. And perhaps Sang has come back in this game after all. He's got more Templar. If he can get a few more storms off on these Goliaths, Hosen is going to be in serious trouble. It doesn't look like Hosen has enough units. Really on the ground. He only has a few tanks left. His Goliaths are still fine against the carriers. But this time, Sang has mining going on. And as long as he has mining, he'll be fine. Storms coming for the Templar. Pretty damn good storms there. Picking off all sorts of Goliaths, doing damage to a lot more. He's got Dragoons there. Unfortunately, the Dragoons getting killed a bit by the tanks. So, Sang, though, with so many Templar, that's a great thing here. 5 Templar storming, that's a lot of damage you can cause, and Hosen does not appear to have enough forces to deal with this. The carriers now have a free hand. The Goliath force has been whittled down, and the carriers are going to burn down the command center, and with the command center going down, it might be GG, but no, Hosen with a second force of Goliaths coming, trying to engage the carriers. There may not be enough Goliaths here to get the job done. Carriers still have a lot of interceptors, and the carriers burn down the command center. The command center goes down, and Hosen, oh dear, look at poor guy. Look at the poor guy. He knows he's beaten. He's played a pretty damn good game for the most part. It's just unfortunate here that he wasn't quite able to get it done. And Sang for MBC is going to win, it looks like. The expansion here up for Sang, keeping him alive. And Hosen doing his best to hold out for now, but he's just not going to have the resources to get it done. He's picked off another carrier, it looks like, but he has so few Goliaths now, just not with the resource income to be able to fight back Sang here. And Sang, not quite playing a perfect game, but overall still doing quite well. Certainly his use of, I would say, Dark Templar this game has been exemplary. His carriers were okay, and his ground units were okay. pretty good storms for the most part. Yeah, the storms were critical. He missed a few, but when it counted, he got the storms off, and that's what matters in the end. Now that, for instance, was a fairly bad storm. Well, the second storm was okay, but Sang knows he's won at this point. As long as he can keep mining, he'll be fine. Hosen doing his best to keep engaging these carriers with the Goliaths, but it's not going to matter. These Goliaths might even be able to pick off a second carrier. Down to 3 carriers now for Sang, but I don't think Sang's going to care too much. Even if he loses all the carriers, he's got enough resources to build some ground forces to finish the game, whereas Hosen is distance mining as best he can. It's just not going to be enough, and I think we'll probably see a GG after these Goliaths get destroyed here. So yeah, interesting series. Better game than I expected from these two rookies. Lots of action. GG here coming from Hosen. MBC game takes the series 4-1. Thank you for watching.
정말 양 선수 다 정말 처절하게 계속 싸우다 보니까 정말 엎치락 정말 재밌는 경기했고요. 뭐 자원적으로 조금 상대가 유리하다 그러면은 이쪽에서 좋은 전투 한번 펼쳐주면서 다시 승기를 뺏어오고 정말 마지막까지 재밌는 경기였습니다. 좀처럼 좀 보기 힘든 그런 경기가 나왔습니다.
그럼요. 뭐 상당히 좀 이색적인 경기였었고 아무래도 신인 선수들이다 보니까 특히나 이 하재상 선수가 좀 그런 부분을 보여주기도 했었고요.
네. 반면에 웅진 스타즈 같은 경우는 사실 노준규가 승리를 얻어야지 그래야지 이 이후에 뭐 김명훈 나와서 킴내서 해결까지 끌고 이런 시나리오였는데 그게 안 됐어요. 그렇죠. 확실히 프로리그의 원투펀치라고 한다면 웅진 스타즈에서 김민철, 김명훈 선수인데